I'm terrified. This could happen next door to my house, in my neighborhood. Like, my wife sits regularly in between the two houses and smokes late at night. This girl deserves justice. Whatever justice can be given in this world, she deserves it. My heart goes out to her family. I can't even imagine. I have a daughter myself, and I can't even imagine the grief that they're going through right now.
People are finally starting to speak up about the DaCara Thompson case. And baby, it's looking messy. From the whispers I've been picking up, there's a strong chance that when it comes to Hugo Hernandez-Mendez, DaCara's story ain't standing alone. Why? Because allegedly, in his room, there were multiple pairs of underwear and lingerie that didn't seem to belong to just one woman. Neighbors in his area are saying out loud that he might be tied to other disappearances, cases that already got folks in the community on edge. And when you line up the details, it feels way too coincidental to brush off. But here's where it twists. Certain pieces don't add up at all, like why DaCara got into his vehicle so willingly when she already had her own ride ready, tank full of gas. She could have just followed behind, no problem. Yet she left her phone, her purse, her ID, her money, and even her car, like none of that mattered. That's the kind of move that got people scratching their heads in disbelief. And the biggest question folks online keep circling back to is this. What exactly did they have in common that made her trust him enough to link up in the first place? On social media, some are even suggesting she might have been selling herself, but whether that's true or just another rumor, baby, the speculation is heating up fast. Obviously, the truth can only be confirmed if police spill what they pulled from DaCara's phone, because they already got it locked in evidence. And word on the street is that the details surfacing are straight up chilling. So let's get into what's been bubbling up. A neighbor, Cody, who lives right next door to the family, dropped some serious tea. He said that on the early morning of August 23rd, he stepped outside and spotted something burning in Hugo's backyard. But here's the twist. He swears the smell wasn't your regular brush fire, it wasn't wood, it wasn't leaves. Cody said it smelled like trash or something way more suspicious. He told detectives it looked like someone could have been burning evidence.
It smells more like something you'd smell akin to like a trash burning or something like that. I would be willing to bet that they were burning evidence of some sort. I know that when I told the detectives this, I know that that ash pile that was back there is no longer back there.
And to make things even darker, he claimed he saw an ash pile sitting back there like proof of whatever went down. Now here's the part that's driving people wild. If Cody's account is true, then how was there a whole blaze happening in Hugo's backyard while people were still inside that house? The timing makes no sense, and that's exactly why folks are side-eyeing every detail that keeps leaking from this case. The wild part is this. People living in that tiny house had to have heard something. Screams, fighting, a struggle, anything. And let's not forget, DaCara was found nude, not even covered up, which only raises more questions about what actually went down that night. Detectives already spoke with one roommate, and their story is chilling. They claimed they overheard DaCara and Hugo having intercourse. But then it shifted into a strange grunting sound that didn't sit right with them. The way they described it, it felt like one of them wasn't a willing participant at all. That detail alone sent shockwaves through the community. But it didn't stop there. That same roommate said when they woke up a few hours later and stepped outside, something was off. The GMC that Hugo usually parked right in front was gone. And this was strange, because Hugo didn't normally work Saturdays, and everyone in the house knew the truck almost never left its spot at night. Meanwhile, two other roommates swore they didn't hear or see a thing. They brushed it off, saying their rooms were way on the opposite side of the house from where Hugo stayed. Still, people online are asking how nobody noticed a struggle in a house that small. And then there's the family connection. One relative, who also lived there, told investigators she was cousins with Hugo. She said she was shocked that her own blood could even be suspected of something this dark. But here's the kicker. She admitted Hugo had been acting different in the weeks leading up to all this. He was barely around, distant, moving strange. She even claimed she urged him straight up to come clean if he knew anything. The cousin also revealed something wild. During the investigation, officers didn't just question Hugo Hernandez-Mendez. They pulled in her own husband and another relative too. Both men were eventually released, but Hugo wasn't so lucky. And then things took an even crazier turn. The very next morning, federal immigration agents showed up at that same house and arrested her husband out of nowhere. The cousin swore her husband had nothing to do with DaCara's case and insisted he cooperated fully with investigators. But she couldn't wrap her head around why Hugo's criminal mess suddenly dragged her own husband into an immigration nightmare. People online are buzzing, saying maybe everyone in that crowded house is holding back the truth just to cover themselves. Because honestly, who's really buying the claim that nobody heard a thing coming from Hugo's bedroom, especially considering the way DaCara's life ended? And then came the heartbreaking discovery. On August 31st, just before 5 p.m., Maryland State Police got a call about a car broken down along Route 50 between Route 424 and Route 97 in Annapolis. At first, it just looked like a disabled vehicle on a small bridge over the South River, but when troopers arrived, they found something gut-wrenching. Lying about 30 feet down the embankment was a body. Days later, on September 3rd, detectives sat with DaCara's devastated family and confirmed the unthinkable. They matched the remains using photos provided by her loved ones. And the details broke hearts across the community. She had suffered severe skull and facial fractures, leaving no doubt about the brutality of her final moments. In the end, DaCara's family confirmed the worst, identifying her not only by those devastating injuries, but also by the tattoos she cherished and the jewelry she never took off. The nightmare had become reality. Her father was the first to raise the alarm, reporting her missing just before 9 p.m. on August 23rd. He told police the last time he saw his daughter was the night before, August 22nd, when she said she was stepping out to get gas and would be right back. But she never returned. By the next day, August 24th, panic had set in. Her father said he tried calling her phone that same night when she didn't come home, but there was no answer. Desperate, her family used the Find My Phone app, since DaCara was the youngest of 5 siblings and they all shared locations. What they found chilled them. The last ping from her phone led them straight to Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road in Hyattsville. When they got there, they found her car abandoned and immediately called police. Even more suspicious, her phone had been turned off, with the final activity logged at that same intersection. Once investigators moved in with a search warrant, the evidence told its own gruesome story. They reportedly discovered what they believed was DaCara's blood, a missing white and pink French manicured fingernail, strands of her hair, and even a wig. Not only that, trash inside the home revealed more chilling clues, multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie that didn't seem to belong to just one person. That's when detectives locked in on Hugo EZ Mendez. He was arrested and charged with first and second-degree murder in the gruesome killing of 19-year-old DaCara Thompson. ICE wasted no time either. They slapped a detainer on him, labeling him a criminal illegal alien and vowing justice for her grieving family. According to investigators, they believe Hugo attacked DaCara inside his bedroom in the early morning hours of August 23rd. Then, in a shocking attempt to cover it up, he allegedly drove her lifeless body to Route 50, near the stretch between Route 424 and Route 97 in Annapolis. There, they say, he threw her over the side of that small bridge, leaving her body 30 feet down the embankment. A final act as cold as it was cruel. The case is far from over. Right now, Hugo EZ Mendez is still locked up with no bond, waiting on his next court appearance set for October 8th. But here's the thing. People in the community are demanding that he's not the only one held accountable. Some are straight up saying the folks who lived under that same roof should be charged as accessories. Think about it. If DaCara was beaten so badly her nail ripped off, then she had to be fighting back. That kind of struggle isn't silent. Neighbors and roommates alike are being side-eyed heavy because how do you not hear that chaos in such a small house? Sure, some gave detectives a few details, but many believe they're still holding back the real truth to save themselves. And the whispers are only getting darker. Around the neighborhood, talk goes beyond just DaCara's tragedy. Locals suspect Hugo could be tied to other missing women in the area, cases that already haunt the block. And then came the discovery that shook everybody. Multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie in his bedroom, almost like twisted trophies or souvenirs. For people already suspicious, that was the smoking gun they needed to believe this man's secrets run deeper than anyone thought. This is a community where people have been disappearing under mysterious circumstances for years, and now all eyes are on Hugo. Could those items help investigators finally identify more victims? The possibility alone has neighbors frozen in fear, waiting to see if more names get added to this chilling puzzle. And what's got folks even more heated is the fact Hugo was walking free in the first place. This man already had a record, busted multiple times for things like drunk driving, yet somehow he was still out on the streets until now. Turns out Hugo's rap sheet was screaming red flags long before DaCara's tragedy. We're talking multiple DUIs, not once, not twice, but repeatedly risking lives on the road. And as if that wasn't reckless enough, he even got slapped with an open container violation, cruising around with booze in his car like he was running some twisted party tour. And his driving habits? A total disaster. He was known for blowing through red lights, ignoring stop signs, and parking anywhere he pleased. Officially, that falls under ignoring traffic control devices and operating without proper care, but in plain talk, it just shows he thought rules didn't apply to him. Throw in those wild lane changes and Hugo was basically a rolling hazard, a ticking time bomb behind the wheel. And here's the kicker, this man was even caught driving on a suspended license. That alone tells you everything. He didn't just break the law, he laughed in its face. No wonder DaCara's mother later admitted she was disappointed he was even a free man to begin with.
I'm very disappointed, finding that out now, because we may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do.
Speaking of DaCara's mom, she had her own heartbreak to deal with beyond the case. She saw all the nasty comments online suggesting her daughter had been selling herself, and she shut that down quick. She described DaCara as an outgoing, soft-spoken young woman, a kind, free spirit who lit up every room she walked into. Her words were clear. Don't believe everything you see and don't believe anything you hear. She pleaded with people to show her daughter respect and approach the family with grace. But despite her words, the online chatter hasn't stopped. Some are still twisting it, saying DaCara's story should serve as a cautionary tale for young women. And that's where this tragedy cuts even deeper, because instead of honoring her memory, strangers are still trying to define her by rumors. But maybe, just maybe, before everybody jumps to conclusions, we need to let this investigation finish playing out. Still, the bigger concern isn't just Hugo's charges, it's the whispers from the neighbors that this might not be an isolated case at all. Could those extra pairs of underwear and lingerie found in his room be chilling receipts of what he's done to other women too? The thought alone has the whole block on edge. And let's not forget the biggest mystery. What exactly do the people who shared that house with Hugo really know? Because baby, if even a fraction of these suspicions are true, then this case could be way bigger, darker, and scarier than anybody imagined. So while we wait for the next wave of details to surface, I need to know, what do you think is really going on here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.